In this video we're going to have a look at the face part of the AdvancedSkeleton toolkit. In the face dialog you'll see it starts off with a couple of definitions. We need to define the surfaces going to be affected by the face setup. First thing is face geometry itself, which is just going to be the main face surface. Secondly, it's going to be all face geometry affected by the face setup, which is going to include such things as the eyeballs, the upper teeth, lower teeth, tongue, and for this character it's the hair and the hat as well. Next couple of entries here, which is head joint, and jaw control, left and right eye joints. These are going to be automatically filled in since we are using an AdvancedSkeleton body rig. Next is a couple of edge loops to be defined, and it starts off with the outer eyelid. So in edge selection mode, go ahead and double click on an edge to get the loop, and this seems to be an appropriate loop here for the outer eyelid. As we now define this as the outer eyelid, you'll notice two yellow joints amongst all the orange joints. This defines the corner of the eyelid deformation, which in this case didn't end up in an ideal position. The yellow joint here would work much better being down here. So to correct this, just undo this step, go back, and we will add to our edge loop selection a single vertex, which will set the start point. So we're going to pick this point here and redo the outer eyelid definition, and this time around you'll notice we have a much better start and end point for the loop. Next edge loop is going to be this one right here. Now comes the inner eyelid, which is going to be this loop here. At this point you notice some templated curves running horizontally across the eye. This is a good indicator how the eyelid is going to close once it's all built. Next is vertices definitions. Next on the list is vertices twos, and these are the eye shapers, which essentially allows you to do very cartoony deformation of the eyeball. Then we have squash regions, which is a couple of locators we need to place to indicate what is going to be directly under the chin, what's going to be under the eyeball, and what's going to be over the eyeball. These locators are defining key points of deformation for the head squash. And now it's time to build the first version of the face using the Build Face Setup button. Once the face is built, you'll notice that you'll have a series of controllers that are already at this point fully functional. And the next steps from here on is going to be about tweaking the weights and the behavior of these points. First up, let's look at the difference between an A controller and a B controller. You'll notice there's two types of controllers on the face, the brown ones and the yellow ones, and they're on their separate display layer. The brown controls are the B controls, the yellow controls are the A controls. The brown controls are simple clusters with a weighted area. The yellow controls are the high-level controls that are driving a series of joints or other controls. In the tweaks sections, there is a couple of buttons that allows us to modify the weights of the brown B controls. The workflow is as follows. You can select a brown control. As you move it around, you'll notice the area of influence. If you want, for example, to broaden this area, first, convert this to a soft mode, then adjust the size of the fall of radius. You can move around to test it immediately as you change the radius to see what effect different radiuses has. Once you're happy with the result, simply click on the button that says Convert Soft Mode back to Control, and that will take care of mirroring the other side as well. Another similar function you can do here is adding a brand new controls, also using a soft mod to define the area of influence. Let's say, for example, we'd like to add a controls just above this cheek control. Select the geometry, use the soft mod tool, pick our center point. As we move this around, we can see the effect of changing the radius. Once we're happy with the pivot point and the radius of the deformer, there's a button to create a new control from the selected soft mod. Next section is called the SDK, which is setting the set-driven key relationship between the high-level controls and the B cluster controls. And there we go, we now have a AdvancedSkeleton face setup.